and meaningful observance. Its impetus was the Bengali language movement in Bangladesh that started on February 21st, 1952. Indigenous languages increasingly have a more localized and restricted existence in this globalized world. A UNESCO report states that many ethnic languages are globally becoming extinct every day. So now, more than ever, there is a need to sustain and develop the mother tongue or the first language and safeguard the precious heritage of world languages. It is thus completely essential that we recognize, respect, and celebrate these native languages that have been passed on to us from our previous generations. We are from one of the most multilingual countries, and right now are in one of the most multilingual continents of the world. Our possibilities to learn and grow are endless. So, ladies and gentlemen, and children, to celebrate the spirit of linguistic and cultural diversity today, we have for you words from some of our inspiring speakers, music and cultural performances, and an entertaining quiz. We start our program with an address by Mr. Arjun Roy, the Vice President of IASH.
আমি বাংলায় গান গাই, আমি বাংলার গান গাই, আমি আমার আমিকে চিরদিন এই বাংলায় খুঁজে পাই। I sing in Bangla, my songs are of Bangla, I always find me of myself in Bangla. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, and all the honorable guests, on behalf of IASH, I welcome you all to this event of International Mother Language Day celebration. 2020 is the year, like Kritika pointed out, when IASH observed this celebration for the very first time. And it was also one of the very few physical events that we were able to organize before the pandemic situation hit us. It was also one of the most loved and successful events that we had last year. Unfortunately, this year, as you know, because of the continuation of the restrictions, we needed to choose an online option. But I hope with the set of diverse performances and with the effective keynote speech by our guest speaker, we'll be able to garner the love and affections. Without further ado, I would like to welcome our honorary guest for today's event, the Consulate General of India, Hamburg, Sri John H. Rolgul, to this virtual stage and invite him to share his thoughts. Sir, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Arjun Roy, Vice President of the IASH. Stephen Cups from VHS Hanover, members of the IAS, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, Guten Tag, Namaste, and since today is International Mother Language Day, Chibai, which is how we say Namaste in my language, which is Marmizo from the northeast of India. International Mother Language Day is observed every year on the 21st of February to promote linguistic and cultural diversity and multilingualism. I'd like to facilitate IAS for celebrating this day for the second time, and also to remind ourselves about the essence and strategic importance of learning and knowing various languages. 21st February was declared as the International Mother Language Day by UNESCO in 1999 and has been observed throughout the world since 21st of February 2000. The day is in a way a tribute to the language movement in Bangladesh, which was previously East Pakistan. Just to give a brief historical context to it, Pakistan, as you know, was created in 1947 with two geographically separate parts, East Pakistan, which is now Bangladesh, and West Pakistan, which is the present-day Pakistan. And it was separated by India in between. In 1948, Pakistan declared Urdu to be the only national language of Pakistan, even though Bengali or Bangla was spoken by the majority of the people, combining East Pakistan as well as West Pakistan. After the people in East Pakistan protested public meetings and rallies were banned, but students of the University of Dhaka, with support from the general population, arranged massive rallies and gatherings and meetings. So on the 21st of February 1952, police opened fire of them, killing 4 students and injuring many hundreds. Eventually, in 1999, UNESCO approved 21st of February as the day for celebrating International Mother Language Day. And so in a way, the day is also a day when we commemorate the people who died on that day in 1952. The theme for this year, 2021 International Mother Language Day, is fostering multilingualism for inclusion in education and society, which recognizes that languages and multilingualism can advance inclusion and sustainable development goals focused on leaving no one behind. UNESCO believes that education based on the first language or mother tongue must begin from the early years as early childhood care, and education is the foundation of learning. The new National Education Policy of India, which was recently approved in July last year in 2020, also emphasizes the use of the mother tongue or the local language as the medium of instruction till class 5, while also recommending its continuance till class 8. This year's observance is a call on policymakers, educators, and teachers, parents, and families to scale up their commitment to multilingual education and inclusion in education to advance education recovery in the context of COVID-19 also. This effort also contributes to the UN International Decade of Indigenous Languages, which is from 2022 to 2032, for which UNESCO is the lead agency, which places multilingualism at the heart of indigenous peoples' development. Every 2 weeks, a language disappears, taking with it an entire cultural and intellectual heritage. And it is said that at least 43% of the estimated 6,000 or so languages spoken in the world are endangered. Only a few hundred languages have genuinely been given a place in education systems and the public domain, and less than 100 are used in the digital world. In many ways, language defines who we are as a person and as a society. It is an intrinsic part of who we are as individuals, and in many ways shapes our thinking and behavior. For example, for the past more than 30 years, almost all my official work and my source of information, be it entertainment, reading, has been in English. But you know what, when I dream, I still dream in my mother tongue. You know, what I see in my dream is always the language I was born with, my mother tongue. So therefore, especially as expatriates and Indians or Indian origin persons living outside India, I think it's very important to continue and retain our own mother tongue. I would say that for us parents, it is our duty to ensure that our children, especially those born and living and studying outside India, are able to speak and communicate in our mother tongue. It's an important part of our personal as well as cultural identity. Often we Indians tend to neglect our mother tongue when we settle abroad and do not pass this down to our children. But the more language we know, the more easier it is for us to navigate in a globalized world. Today, there is a growing awareness that languages play a vital role in development, in ensuring cultural diversity and intercultural dialogue, but also in strengthening cooperation and attaining quality education for all, in building inclusive knowledge societies and preserving cultural heritage, and also in mobilizing political will for applying the benefits of science and technology to sustainable development. Also, increasingly, information and knowledge are key determinants of wealth creation, social transformation, and human development. Language is a primary vector for communicating information and knowledge. Thus, the opportunity to use one's language on the internet will determine the extent to which one can participate in emerging knowledge societies. The beginning of the internet has brought about diverse opportunities for sharing information and knowledge in various languages. Today, anyone in principle can produce content, share it with the rest of the world, and also receive feedback. The internet is open to all languages of the world when certain technical conditions are met and when the necessary human and financial resources are in place. Nowadays, almost everyone in the world, even in India, has access to the internet through our smartphones, our laptops, and computers. The internet is a multilingual and culturally diverse uh, media where every culture and language has its own space. In this context, I just want to cite the example of my own mother tongue, Mar or Mizo. It is spoken by maybe 0.2% of the population in India, but it still has a very significant presence in the social media, whereas whether it's Facebook or Twitter or YouTube or Instagram or WhatsApp. For example, it's now quite common for songs in my language on YouTube to receive millions of views. In fact, there is a song covered by two Mizo singers, which actually has 46 million views. I mean, can you imagine we comprise only 0.2% of the population in India? Just maybe 2 million, maybe 3 million, I don't know. But that song has 46 million views. I could not even believe that, but that is the power of the internet. Similarly, also there are many websites and groups on Facebook, social media, dispersing the latest news, opinions, and information which are regularly read by scores of readers and subscribers in our own language. On the positive side, this gives me great hope and confidence that the internet is the means to preserve even the language that are spoken by a few people, and as a consequence, preserve diverse cultures and ways of life for a long time to come. So it goes without saying that celebrating International Mother Language Day is important because it ensures that these languages are not forgotten, as well as keeping the cultural heritage and history of countries intact. People should be proud of their mother language and also want to have the drive to learn more. So in closing, I would again like to commend the efforts of the IASH in celebrating this day by spreading awareness and promoting linguistic and cultural diversity wherever we are. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rolankur, for those insightful and inspiring words. We are forever grateful for your support and encouragement to IASH in our activities and events. On this occasion of International Mother Language Day, we are glad to have with us representation from the Bangladeshi Farain. I invite Ms. Prova Noor Jahan from IIK to say a few words. She is the niece of Bhasha Sainik Mr. Abdul Matin. He was one of the student leaders and organizers of the movement and is popularly known as Bhasha Matin. Ms. Prova, please.
Hello, everyone. Yes, so this is the day for us very special because nowadays we are speaking Bengali language for this day, sacrifice of the heroes and say, especially the event when Muhammad Ali Jinnah, who just
Ms. Prova, we kindly request you to increase the volume, please, because...
Okay. Is it okay now?
Yeah, is it better? Thank you.
Sorry for my sound. Okay, so yeah, this is the sweetest language I speak now. we can earn our victory through this language movement, because for me, language is a very important thing for a country, for their own culture, for their freedom. So this is the first door to opening freedom of our country. So yeah, so legislators celebrating this day to promote the awareness of language and cultural diversity all across the world. Language are the most powerful way to represent and develop culture and to promote it all across the world. So yeah, nowadays our mother language it's become an international mother language day because of the glorious history behind this language movement. And if I talk about my uncle, it's like on 24th March 1948, after Muhammad Ali Jinnah made his speech at the Race Course Maidan in Dhaka, currently Sarwar. He came to the University of Dhaka for convocation, and my uncle Nadim was also present at that ceremony to receive his degree. When Jinnah repeated his position about language policy, however, he stood at the chair and shouted, "No, it cannot be." And other students also supported him. So this is the beginning for this movement. And then the youth of Dhaka University protested a very big against this language freedom, and they achieved that. But we have to sacrifice some lives, you know. Yeah, Pakistani police shooted many people. They gave their life for this freedom of language. So yeah, this is the history behind the Flower Language movement.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Ms. Prova, and thank you for sharing those words with us. We now move to our first presentation. The Northeast is one of the most ethnically and linguistically diverse regions in India. Each of the states that form this part of India has its own culture and traditions. Mr. Pravesh Tamang has a presentation for us to show us a window to this fascinating region and its rich heritage. He will be sharing with us his knowledge on Northeastern languages and Nepali language.
Good afternoon. Namaste, everyone present here today to celebrate Mother Language Day. Today, I would like to present a short introduction about languages of Northeast India. As India is rich in its culture and heritage, so it is also rich in its huge variety of languages. When we talk about Northeast of India, so we think about the Seven Sisters, basically. So in these Seven Sisters, we the states are Meghalaya, Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, Tripura, and sometimes Sikkim is also a part of Northeast. But the North Bengal of West Bengal also shares some culture and heritage and languages with Northeast of India. If we talk about the classification of languages in Northeast, so the languages belong to Indo-Aryan, Austric, and Sino-Tibetan group. So Indo-Aryan means most of the North Indian languages like Hindi and all North Indian languages basically. Austric languages has a similarity with Vietnamese and languages in Myanmar. And Sino-Tibetan, as the name says, it has a similarity with China and Tibet. Now let's talk about the different languages in Northeast. In Assam, there are four major languages spoken, which are Assamese, Kachari, Bodo, and Karbi. If you go to Arunachal Pradesh, Mongpa, Adi, Aptani, Nisha, and Nokta. If you go to Meghalaya, you find Khasi, Zantia, and Garo. These are the three major languages spoken in Meghalaya. So in Manipur, Mithai is the official language Manipuri, which is also known as Manipuri, and you can find dialects of Nagas in Manipuri and Kuki-Chin. So these are the major languages in Manipur. If you move on to Nagaland, you find a huge group of language there. Angami, O, Chang, Lota, and so on. So there are basically huge group of tribes living there. So there are different varieties of language you find in Nagaland, and one of the official language is also English. And most of the northeastern part of India has official language English as one of the languages. In Mizoram, you can find Mizo and Lusai, the two major languages spoken in this state. And if you move to Tripura, Tripura and Bengali are the major languages spoken there in Tripura. Sikkim and the regions of North Bengal, the huge population, like 90% of the population speak Nepali there. And I come from a small town in Darjeeling, and our mother tongue is Nepali. Today, I would like to give a small introduction about my mother tongue, Nepali, or sometimes it's also known as Gorkhali language. The Nepali language has its origin from Indo-Aryan, and it has a Devanagari. It also has a Devanagari script for writing the language. And the booming of the Nepali language began in late 1800s. It is estimated that 17 million people all over the world speak Nepali, and 90% of them come from country Nepal. When it comes about Nepali language, we do not forget Adikavi Vanubhakta Acharya. We call him Adikavi because he was the first Nepali poet who wrote a poem in a pure form of Nepali, because before that all the poems and books and novels and storybooks were mixed with Sanskrit, Hindi and Nepali mixed together. So he was the first poet who wrote a poem in a pure form of Nepali. So that's all from my side about the Nepali language, and hope you had a lot of information today. Dhanyavad. Thank you.
Dhanyavad Pravesh. That was really quite informative about Nepali and Northeastern languages. We move to the next performance. Maritya Bellas once said, multilingualism promotes culture, and a culturally diverse child is better prepared to participate and compete in a global society. The children of IASH have always been champions of our events by bringing forth beautiful, creative performances all year. So, for Mother Language Day, our first set of performances is by Arav, Bhargavi, Veera, and Ravi, who will be highlighting Hindi, Tamil, Marathi, and German languages, respectively. The theme of today's kids' performances is unity in diversity. A big thank you, as always, to Ms. Priya for coordinating and meticulously putting together all the videos of the kids. We have the kids' performance number 1.
नमस्ते, मेरा नाम आरव है। मेरा मातृभाषा है हिंदी है। बाहर कोरोना वायरस दिन बाहर में नहीं जा सकता, इसलिए मैं घर में लेके राग भरता हूँ और काटता हूँ और चपकाता हूँ और दाइयों से खेलता हूँ। और मेरे पास एक छोटा भाई भी है, उसका नाम कियान है। उसके साथ भी मैं खेलता हूँ और उससे मुझे मन लगता है। धन्यवाद। Toen moest ik zelf ook met hem rijden. Nou, los op. Dat is heel lekker. Nou, dat zat in de naam. Maar ze wel niet, hè. Nee, ja, dat ik nog wat gezegd heb. Hij pakt hem dus naam. Ik word dat zo gezegd. Afspelen. Nou, anders dan niet. Nee, nog met hem. Kan je ook een keer samen goed doen dat zo. Daar alleen kan je zo die kamer. I am going to win. Zinnen die kan. Men alles ik hadden wennen. Zit de kajem, poot de kajem. Zij weet de mannen. Wennen je palm, zit in balm. Werd de sette alm, goed de kalm. Kanalen de, kanalen pogewin. Anne jong nalgom, adikadem. नमस्कार, माझं नाव आहे वीरा. मी मराठी बोलते. असावा सुंदर चॉकलेटचा बंगला, चंदेरी सोनेरी चमचमता चांगला. चॉकलेटचा बंगला, टॉफीचं दार, शेपटीच्या झुपक्यानी चढून जाईल खार. गोल गोल लिंबूच्या खिडक्यातून Hello, hello, कलाला छोटासा फोन. बिस्किटाच्या गठीवर मूळ चंदन, फेपरच्या अंगणात फुलं लाल लाल. कॅन्डीच्या झाडामागे चांदोबाला हात, मोत्यांच्या फुलातून लपाच्या पिकेत, हो लपाच्या पिकेत. उंच उंच झोपल्याचा खेळ रंगला. Magneten pinzela, rectangular. Kitty, sundara chocolateचा बंगला, चंदेरी सोनेरी चमचम त्या चांगला, चमचम त्या चांगला, चमचम त्या चांगला. मी Abali आहे.
Hallo, ich bin der Schafferein. Ich heiße Ravi und ich bin 6 Jahre alt. Meine Muttersprache, mit der ich aufgewachsen bin, ist Deutsch. Mein Lieblingshobby ist beim XL hier, beim X-Ra meine ich. Hier ist ein BIM XL. Und mein Lieblingshobby ist Lego. Und noch ein Lieblingshobby ist Lego bauen. Hier ist ein Lego Camper. Kann man bauen. Und tschüss.
That was amazing, kids. Very charming performances. With the exposure and access to so many native languages, our kids have this incredible platform to grow and shine. Way to go. The next performance is about Assam. Assam is the land of diverse wildlife, archaeological sites, silk, and of course, as everyone knows and has heard of, Assam tea. Assamese or Assamia is the main language spoken in Assam, and to talk more about it with a presentation, we have with us today Mr. Bhaskar Sharma. He is a digital marketer from Guwahati, Assam. Mr. Sharma, please.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Bhaskar Sharma from Guwahati, Assam, and today I'll be presenting on Assamese language and culture. So I'll just directly get to the presentation. Before it, I'd just like to thank the members of Indian Association in Hanover and Mr. Samir Rohadia, sir, who has provided me this opportunity for providing me this opportunity. So, Assam, as we all know, is situated in the northeastern part of India, and it is surrounded by Brahmaputra and Barak River valleys. In the north part, it is bordered by Bhutan and Arunachal Pradesh. In the east, by Nagaland and Manipur. In the south, by Meghalaya, Tripura, Mizoram, and Bangladesh. And in the west, by West Bengal. There are 34 districts in Assam. Capital city is Dispur, which is in Guwahati. Population is 30.57 million. And there are about 14.81 million native speakers of Assamese language. Apart from Assamese, there are few more languages which are spoken in Assam, which are namely Assamese, Bodo, Mishing, Karbi, Rabha, Tiwa. These are all the community languages. Hindi, Bengali, Bhojpuri, Marwari, Manipuri. These are again spoken by the people from those areas who have been residing in Assam for a long time. Now, if we divide the spoken language, it can be majorly categorized into 4 groups: Eastern, Central, Western, and Northern. So in the Eastern groups, it is mostly spoken in the Sibsagar, which is located in the Upper Assam. In Central group, the Nagaon and adjoining areas. The Gwalporia is in Kamrup, and so on. So now we will move to the history of Assamese language. Okay, so okay, we are moving to the history of Assamese language. So Assamese originated in the old Indo-Aryan dialects, though the exact nature of its origin is not clear. It is believed that Assamese was derived from the Kamrupi dialect of Eastern Magadhi Prakrit. There is a striking resemblance of Assamese, Bengali, and Oriya languages. In the 14th century, Madhav Kandali, a poet from Assam, translated the Ramayana, which is known as Saptakanda Ramayana. The earliest form of Assamese literature was found in Buddhist verses called the Charyapada. Srimanta Shankardeva is one of the most popular and a figure of importance in Assamese history, who led the revival of Assamese languages through Borgage, Bhavna, and Satriya Nitra. In 17th century, the Ahom kingdom, established by Sukapha, a Thai Ahom prince, made Assamese the court language. A few more about the history of Assamese language. The modern period began with the publishing of Assamese Bible in 1813. However, in 1836, after British took complete control, the Assamese was replaced by Bengali as the official languages. Later on in 1846, American Baptist missionary and a few local eminent personalities like Anandaram Dhakial Phukan, they again tried to bring Assamese back as the Assamese language. Significant was Nathan Brown, a Baptist missionary to India and Japan. He published the first Assamese dictionary. And in 1863, Miles Bronson published the Assamese to English dictionary. The literary languages have been infused with the Eastern idiom and became the standard literary form in the 19th century, which was adopted by British for its state purposes. Later on in the mid 20th century, as the political commercial center shifted to Guwahati, the language took its current form. Now, some of the famous personalities from Assam are Lakshminath Bezbarua. He was an eminent novelist, playwright, and a great contributor to the modern Assamese literature. His essays, plays, and fictions are still remembered today. Some of his prominent works include Kodam Koli, Budhi Ari Khadu, and Joymoti Kuori. His death anniversary is observed at the Sahitya Divas in Assam. Another important person is Jyoti Prasad Agarwala. He was also the first filmmaker from this region, and he made the first Assamese film Joymoti. His death anniversary is observed as Silpi Divas. And Bhupen Hazarika, I think almost everyone is familiar with him. So he has been the pioneer of Assam state, and he was a very famous musician, poet, filmmaker. He sang many songs in different languages. He was posthumously awarded the Padma Vibhushan and Bharat Ratna, the two highest civilian awards of our country. Now, these are some other important facts about Assam. Assam is the largest tea growing region. Assam also produces high quality silk, golden muga, white pat, warm eri silk. These are different forms of silk. It is also famous for the one-horned rhinoceros, and it is densely populated in this state. Majuli, the world's largest river island, is also the cultural capital of Assam. And it is also known for the first site of oil drilling in Asia. And we have refineries in Guwahati, Digboi, Duliajan, and Bongaigaon. Now, just sharing a bit about Assamese culture through photographs. So these are a glimpse of Kaziranga National Park. It is famous worldwide. Then this is the traditional dance of Assam, Bihu. I'm sure everyone must have heard about it. And Bihu is also the major festival of our region. Then there is this Satriya Indian classical dance. It is also another form of dance from Assam. And Ankiya Bhavna and plays, all these are a part of the Satriya community, which was established by Srimanta Shankardev. Namghar, it is a house of prayer. This can be found in almost every society in the region. Wherever you visit, you will definitely find a Namghar. Prayers are offered here on various religious occasions. These are some archaeological sites. Ronghar was a house of entertainment built by the Ahoms. Then Talatal Ghar, it is also one of the army bases built by the Ahoms. It is located in Shivsagar in Upper Assam. And it is a tea garden. It is a photo of a tea garden located in Assam. So I hope that I was able to give you a brief insight about Assam. And I would thank you again, the Indian Association, Hanover, and Samir sir for providing me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sharma. That was really a nice insight about Assam and Assamese culture. We thank Mr. Stefan Kaps, the cultural head of VHS, for being able to attend this event today. Please share a few words with us.
I hope I'm audible. Is it all fine? Because I have a new headset. So, okay, thank you. The Consul General, Mr. John H. Rangoon, the Professor Umurani, the distinguished guests and other speakers, the members of Indian Association Hanover, the participants of International Mother Language Day. As mentioned, I'm Stefan Kapp. I'm head of cultural department at BHS Hanover. When I was asked to say a few words, the first thing that came up to my mind was the term mother language, and on the contrary, fatherland. Are both terms meant literally? Is fatherland the land a father gave to his son and to his son and to his son and so on? And if so, did the term mother language strengthen the typical role of a mother in educating their children? So, do these terms form an idea of gender we might have and reproduce this construct? Let me continue with that thought. Fatherland must be in this way of looking at it, and not in the idea it became the meaning of Heimat, home country, a concrete place with concrete land, maybe within a fence. And mother language? It is a mobile construct that is always with the person speaking. Even more, mother language is the base we form our world around, our individual approach of the world and our dreams. Because to name things, we need words. To imagine things, we need a word or a form to compare them, as also the Count General mentioned, dreaming in his mother language. So within the power of mother language and all languages that might follow, we are able to construct fatherland without owning it and putting a real fence around it. Language has this power. Sometimes it needs new words, empowering words, self-given words to be up to date with reality. In Germany, we had this big discussion about the so-called gender star that indicates female and non-binary forms in written and, by making a short break, spoken language, to be more accurate in addressing everyone. For example, TeilnehmerInnen, participants. In English, it's very easy, but in German, it's a bit complicated. That is something, so addressing everyone is something we at Volkshochschule want to do. Address everyone with their educational needs. Regarding languages, before the corona pandemic, we offered 26 different types of languages on different levels. We even once had a class in cooperation with the Indian Association, and thanks to them, of Sanskrit. The city of Hanover is right now in process of updating the local integrational plan, and I also see members of politics here, like Bala, my friend, and also Yomi Ankola, who is member of Internationaler Ausschuss. So that is a strategic paper that also was confirmed by politics. In the next step, we have to have the task to create concrete measures, and one big wish from different diasporas is education in their mother language. Studies show that if you learn that properly, you can learn other languages more easily. So let us all be curious what different languages we can experience today, and a big thanks again to Indian Association for our cooperation and for this event. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kaps, as always, for your participation, your support, and generous encouragement in all IASH events. We now move on to our next set of kids' performances. Our performers in this video are Adhya, Anvita, and Harini, who will showcase Kannada, Marathi, and Malayalam languages. A fun fact, Malayalam is one of the longest palindromes in English.
Skara, ನನ್ನ ಹೆಸರು ಆದ್ಯ. ನನ್ನ ಮಾತೃಭಾಷೆ ಕನ್ನಡ. ನಾನು ಇವತ್ತು ಒಂದು ಹಾಡು ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ಕನ್ನಡವೆಂದರೆ ಬರೀ ನುಡಿಯಲ್ಲ, ಹಿರಿದಿದೆ ಅದರರ್ಥ. ಜಲವೆಂದರೆ ಕೇವಲ ನೀರಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಪಾವನ ತೀರ್ಥ. ಅದು ಪಾವನ ತೀರ್ಥ. ಕನ್ನಡವೆಂದರೆ ಬರೀ ನಾಡಲ್ಲ, ಭೂಪಟಗೆರೆ ಚುಕ್ಕೆ. ಕನ್ನಡವೆಂದರೆ ಬರೀ ನಾಡಲ್ಲ, ಭೂಪಟಗೆರೆ ಚುಕ್ಕೆ. ಮರವೆಂದರೆ ಬರೀ ಕಟ್ಟಿಗೆ, ಶ್ರೀಗಂಧದ ಚಕ್ಕೆ. ಶ್ರೀಗಂಧದ ಚಕ್ಕೆ. ಕನ್ನಡ ಬರೀ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಅಸೀಮ ಅದು ಅದೇ ಗಂಧ. ಕನ್ನಡ ಬರೀ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕವಲ್ಲ, ಅಸೀಮ ಅದು ಅದೇ ಗಂಧ. ದೇವರು ಕೇವಲ ವಿಘ್ನವಲ್ಲ, ಅಂತರ್ಭಾವ ಅನಂತ. ಅಂತರ್ಭಾವ ಅನಂತ. ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು.
चटक चांदणी चतुर कामिनी काय म्हणू तुला, तू हायस तरी कोण?
कोण?
वही वही कोण?
छबीदार छबी मी तोऱ्यात उभी, हजारांना लाईक्स माझ्या डीपीला. छबीदार छबी मी तोऱ्यात उभी, पोर मग मग माझ्या डीपीला. छबीदार छबी मी तोऱ्यात उभी, हजारांना लाईक्स माझ्या डीपीला. छबीदार छबी मी तोऱ्यात उभी, पोर मग मग माझ्या डीपीला. म्हणत्यात हॅलो, करत्यात फॉलो, इन्स्टा ट्विटरला. वर नंबर मागणं थेट. All you boys just get this straight. बिना friendship लग्न थेट. Get set before it's too late.
हे आली या पोरींची बारी रे, आली या पोरा बाजारी रे. बघायचे सारी नवी पुढारी नारी रे, त्याचे सांगतात ऐकायचे. हे बघना बरं नवं.
All you boys just get this straight. हे वागणं बरं नवं. विनाकारण करणं कमी. हे वागणं बरं नवं. Get set before it's too late. हे वागणं बरं नवं.
നമസ്കാരം. ഞാൻ ഹരിണിയാണ്. എൻ്റെ മാതൃഭാഷ മലയാളമാണ്. ഇന്ന് ഞാൻ സരസ്വതി മന്ത്ര ചൊല്ലാം. സരസ്വതി നമസ്തുഭ്യം വരദകാമരൂപിണി വിദ്യാരംഭം കരക്ഷ്യാമി സിദ്ധ്യർഭവതേ സദാ. പദ്മഭദ്രശാലാക്ഷ്മി പദ്മകേസരവർണിനി നിത്യം പദ്മായ ദേവി സാമാൻ പാദസ്വരസ്വതം. നന്ദി, നമസ്കാരം.
How wonderful was that? Thank you, kids, for your enthusiasm and cheer. Our next speaker is Dr. Umarani Papuswamy. She is a professor and deputy director holding multiple responsibilities at Central Institute of Indian Languages. She was involved in various projects on intelligent tutoring systems at University of Pittsburgh, USA. For the past 25 years, she has been working on grammar formalisms, typology, documentary linguistics, and endangered languages. Her current focus is mainly on building resources, both in digital and print, for lesser known and under-resourced languages of India. She collaborates with various institutions in India, USA, Belgium, Brazil, France, Australia, Mauritius, and Singapore through her work. She is also a consultant for various projects on endangered languages and natural language processing across the country and is currently the editor of the journal Indian Linguistics. Without further ado, I would like to invite Dr. Uma Rani to share her thoughts with us. Please.
Thank you, Kritika. The Consulate General, Mr. John, IAS members, ladies and gentlemen, my dear kids, Namaste from India. I'm a Tamil speaker, so Vanakkam. It is indeed both an honor and privilege to be part of this event, the first of its kind I am attending in virtual mode this year. When Soumya approached me, I thought like, okay, all other engagements of today can be put on hold, and I wanted to be with you guys mainly because you are part of us, the Indian diaspora. I'm delighted to be part of this August gathering to celebrate the International Mother Language Day with you. At the outset, I thank the Indian Association Hanover, IASH, Germany for inviting me as a guest speaker for the International Mother Language Day celebration online. On behalf of the Central Institute of Indian Languages and on my own behalf, I wish all of you a very happy Mother Language Day. Let us celebrate our languages. If we don't celebrate, who are going to celebrate our mother tongues? So it's we who should do that. On this important day, I would like to say a few words about my own institute, the Central Institute of Indian Languages, the CIL, as it is called by everyone, was set up in 1969. It is one of the unique institutions in the world that functions through different language and linguistic schemes to identify the similarities among Indian languages or mother tongues in terms of history, literatures, linguistic structures, vocabularies, culture studies, anthropological studies, history, etc., and contribute to the development of all Indian languages, whether it's a big language or whether it is a small language not known to anyone. Because I was so happy to see the first presentation was by somebody who spoke on languages of Northeast India, because in our country, even looking at the map of India, we always say that depends on how you stand. So if I am just facing the map now, I would just say that, or looking at the other way, the left hand of India is Northeast India, if I'm just seeing it where I am sitting. So most of the times it's neglected. So I was so happy to see. I was also thrilled to know that the Consulate General is from Northeast, especially from Manipur, speaking one of the interesting languages which is grouped as Central Kuki-Chin language of the Tibeto-Burman family of the higher family Sino-Tibetan. In our institute, CIL, we have been working for the last 50 years and produced a lot of grammars, dictionaries, and perhaps for the very first time, some books would have been written on languages of the Northeast India too. We have done quite a big bit of work. I myself work on a variety of Northeast languages because I lived in Shillong for 8 years, and that was an eye-opener for me to see the different languages of our own country, of what I had never heard of before, except a few dominant ones. We do work on many languages like Tadao, Paite, Tidimchin. I had supervised students on various dissertations of the Northeast. We in general, in our institute, we work for development of languages not just spoken in India, but also spoken by people like you, who might be sitting somewhere in Hanover or Hamburg, or could be somewhere in Antwerpen or Cologne or any other part of Europe. And also, we do have associations with our Indian communities in Mauritius and other countries. For us, whether we are born in India or whether, like you, some of you probably are second or third generation Indians living in different parts of the world, International Mother Language Day is very, very special. As you know, for the benefit of the kids sitting here, India is the fourth most linguistically diverse nation with 453 living languages. There are 22 scheduled languages. These are the official languages of our country. We also have 99 non-scheduled languages. And for your information, 66 of those 99 languages are almost endangered. We'll talk about it in a bit. But I must tell you that we do have thousands of dialects in our country, and sometimes it's very difficult to draw a line between a language and dialect. That is why when Westerners are working on our languages, they are not able to come out with concrete conclusions unless and until it is done by a linguist. Several scholars predict that almost 90% of the world's living languages, that is, out of 7,000 languages, we may lose many of them by the end of the 21st century. If we lose 90%, we may end up only having 700 languages in this whole world. And interestingly, 96% of the world's languages are spoken only by 4% of its people. And over 1500 languages have less than 1000 speakers. When we celebrate international important as the big language. When it comes to language, there is nothing that can stop people saying that your language is better than mine. It is like every language is equally important. But please remember that many languages are disappearing. Already, Shri John talked about UNESCO and some of the facts about endangered languages. I would like to reiterate here by saying that out of the many languages that UNESCO identified as endangered, 197 of them are housed in India, are spoken in India. 2019 was declared as the International Year of Indigenous Languages, and during that year, we saw many conferences, seminars, workshops. Most of it, of course, was face-to-face in the real world and not in the virtual world as we are doing now. Across the globe, there were lots of events which was conducted mainly to create global awareness of the endangered languages. How many of you heard about language names like Aimal or Paite until unless someone talks about it? Because there was a presentation about languages of Northeast India, and that too done by a Nepali. It was nice to see that. I must tell here, like seven sisters, of course, seven sisters have a lone brother, that is Sikkim, and the lone brother came from Sikkim to talk to us about the languages spoken by his sisters. So that was very nice. It was very unique, and we saw some of the names he had given. There are more than 200 languages spoken in northeast of India. So you have quite a number of languages there, but most of them are at the verge of endangerment. And now with COVID-19, life has turned upside down for many of us. But still, efforts are going on in our own country, in India, and also in other parts of the world, where people have taken up projects to help communities revitalize their languages and promote the mother tongues wherever possible. That is being done everywhere, even during the COVID times. Even in Andaman and Nicobar Islands, some efforts are going on to preserve their languages. In the CIL, we have a scheme of protection and preservation of endangered languages. In this project, our goal is to document 117 languages that have less than 10,000 speakers in the first phase and go on to document 42 languages in the second phase. Our goal is to produce grammars for the sake of communities, in other words, for the use of community members and also for academic use. Produce dictionaries both in digital and print form, again, both for academic purpose and community purpose. We also would like to bring out ethno-linguistic sketches so that we can know about the cultures of the communities who speak those languages. We continue our work and we are producing online dictionaries, talking dictionaries. All these things are going on. And as already pointed out by Sri John, the UNESCO has declared 2022 to 2032 as the decade of international languages. So that means what? We have 10 full years with us to contribute in whatever small way we can to the promotion and preservation of not only our own mother tongues but also the languages of India in particular and the world in general. Now, one question to all of you present here. Why Mother Language Day? Languages are who we are. Now, next time I see Sri John, I know very well he is a Mar speaker. He is Mar. Who are you? I am a Mar. Who is Uma? She is a Tamulian. Who is Saumya? She is an Andhraite. Now, maybe I should say she is a Telugu speaker. And we do have, I saw names here quite a bit. I see Kritika Bharadwaj. I believe you are from Assam. So,
No,
Assam
I'm
is.
Brazilian.
Where are you from?
I'm from Tamil Nadu.
Tamil Nadu. Okay, but your roots are Assam?
No.
Bharadwaj? No.
No.
Okay, but all right. Bharadwaj is a surname which is commonly used in Assam. But we also saw so many people are here from different places. We see Surajit Bose. So we have all, like we have Bengalis, Assamese. We have quite a number of people in this small group with us. This language, basically, language gives us our own identity. When I am in India, I am now sitting in Mysuru, that is, which is in Karnataka. In Mysuru, I'll be referred to as that Tamil lady. When I go out of Mysuru and I go to, say, Kerala, they would still say I am a Tamil by looking at me or my accent. But the moment I go out of South India and say I go to Mumbai, then I would be termed differently. Maybe somebody in the past, people would have called me as a Madrasi, or now they would say that South Indian lady. So then if I go to Delhi, I'm still a South Indian or a Madrasi. Then 20 years back, when I just first time in my life when I came to Antwerp, I was just that is the first time I got a different identity wherever I am. Okay, I'm an Indian. I was so proud of that because I had multiple identities. But it is only when you leave India then the Indianness comes more into us, and then we feel okay, I'm an Indian. And the moment then you go out of other places and then you meet among other Asians and other Americans and Europeans are there, then of course I'm a South Asian. I'm also so happy to be called as a South Asian because again a larger identity to share my feelings with my fellow SAARC country cousins. So likewise, identity keep changes, but what gives us this identity, it is not the geography, it is the language I speak, and then mainly the language first, and then slowly we move into the geographical regions. So that means when we say that language is the one which gives me my identity, protecting this identity is a matter of human rights. I must protect my identity. That is why when I first asked Shri John, are you from the Northeast? He said yes, but it's important. It is important to say yes. I am a Mar speaker. Like, of course, then the larger comes whether he's a Kuki Chin speaker or some other identity. But it's very important because it's a matter of our human right. The right to speak, to learn, to educate, and unfold all cultural activities in one's own mother tongue, in addition to other official languages, is enshrined in many constitutions. Linguistic majorities, that is, the speakers of a dominant language, for example, Tamil or Kannada or Assamese or Bengali, these speakers usually enjoy all those linguistic human rights. On the other hand, the linguistic minorities, for example, Mar speakers or Mizo or I can even say Garo, Kasi, these are the linguistic minorities, or even in the mainland India, if you say Tulu, they are also minorities. The speakers of these minority languages do not enjoy these basic linguistic human rights. Again, I repeat, only speakers of the so-called scheduled languages of our country, the 22 scheduled languages of our country, enjoy all the linguistic human rights. Thus, linguistic minorities are compelled to defend their linguistic rights. That is the reason I am saying that the answer to the question I asked you, why Mother Language Day? The main thing is it's my right to use my language. Why just on one day, February 21? I should be celebrating my language every day. I have to use it in all walks of my life wherever possible. But how can one do that? Does one succeed in one's attempt while trying to officially use his or her mother tongue? Like, it's very difficult if you people are sitting here in Hanover or Hamburg and you wanted to find a Mar speaker or a Bengali speaker. Of course, it's easier to find a Bengali speaker compared to that of a Mar speaker, right? So it is very sad to see that some of the language speakers living in Europe do not have anyone to speak their language except their own family if they have one. All right. So that is the reason, like, again, going back to the same story, what everybody was telling, unfortunately, we are reminded of the sad incident that took place in 1952 on this day. That was one of the darkest days in the linguistic world when 4 students, kids basically, were killed for campaigning to officially use their mother tongue. You're saying on one side, you're saying linguistic right is your birthright. It's a basic human right. Then if I want to use my language, I do not have the rights to use it. That was the saddest day in the history of the linguistic world. Of course, that happened, all of you know, in Bangladesh, our own neighbor. Afterwards, on February 17, 1999, that incident probably made UNESCO to proclaim February 21st to be the International Mother Language Day, and it was first observed on February 21, 2000. Now we are in the 22nd edition of this day. 20 years are over, all right. Since then, many countries and various organizations observe this day, award prizes, organize many events like you guys are doing, many literary and cultural competitions, honor people for making outstanding work in linguistic and cultural diversity. But again, most of the times this happens in well-developed nations or for mother tongues that are well recognized by either one nation or a group of nations. How about the mother tongues of the lesser known languages? How about the lesser developed regions like Northeast India or Andaman and Nicobar, for instance? Or how about the mother tongues of the Indian diaspora, the heritage languages spoken by millions of people. They may be people of Indian origin, or they could be migrants or immigrants across the globe. What happens to those people? What happens to their heritage languages? Are you happy living in Germany if your child picks up Germany? Yes, I will be very happy, because wherever you live, you must speak that language. You must gain knowledge, because that is where you live. In addition to speaking German, one's child should also be exposed to one's own mother tongue. Because why are we saying that? Because language and culture are interrelated. Once a language is lost, humanity loses a part of our rich heritage. That is why most of the times we say that let us practice languages at home. Once you use the language at home, and then in your own associations wherever you are, or maybe you have other gatherings, wherever possible, if you can greet each other in your own languages, or also make your kids learn not just the language but also use it whenever possible. The threat is more to the indigenous and the lesser known mother tongues of India, of our beloved motherland, that must be preserved. If not, we will lose a significant part of the heritage of our country. Each of these languages or mother tongues can unlock local knowledge about medicinal practices, ecological wisdom, mythological histories, and many other invaluable knowledge which we may not be aware of. It's very, very important to document the linguistic and cultural knowledge and also transmit it to others. How to safeguard and promote lesser known mother tongues? Of course, now again UNESCO is asking the world to digitally empower the lesser known mother tongues of the most disadvantaged societies by effectively using technology to make their mother tongues not only visible but also promoted across the globe. That is why when someone was saying, I think it was again Shri John who said that the Mizo songs had so many 4 million viewers on the internet, and there are Twitters and other Facebook and other social media networking where people are using their language. Please remember, unlike the 22 scheduled languages of India, the other 99 non-scheduled languages and other languages, many of them do not have a script of their own. Okay, like when you're sitting on the other side of the shore, it looks okay, everything appears to be green, but only when you go to the other shore, you will see that there are so many problems. Many languages are still unwritten. So it is important to develop orthographies for these languages. It's very, very important to do that, because once you have a script is like a very powerful tool to develop other resources for the language. Once you have a script, you can always document the languages, produce dictionaries. You can have talking dictionaries for your kids, because if the kids are living somewhere in Hanover and you want them to listen to their mother tongue, and it's nice if they can have some apps on their mobile or iPads or any other tablets or other electronic gadgets, and learn a few words every day. Coming to the heritage languages of the diaspora, especially the Indian diaspora. But before we talk about Indian diaspora, we have at least 250 million people who live abroad in other countries. That means it's more than 3.2% of the world's total population. That is the diaspora, the population. There has been a drastic growth since 1990. In 1990, when you talk about Indian diaspora, it was like less, but the whole entire diaspora is 154 million, the global diaspora. But in 2013, the number changed, it became 232. Now again, another 7 years are over, I'm sure it would have crossed 250 million people. We talk about Indian diaspora, it has reached the mark more than 25 million, dispersed around the globe in more than 75 countries. The origin of the Indian diaspora has always been the regional social structures of the immigrants and the migrants. On the basis of the regional cultures and languages in Europe, for example, Indians create their identities like Bengali, Punjabi, Tamil, Telugu, Hindi, and Telugu or Urdu diasporas. However, when there is a question of the Indian diaspora, they always feel a part of it. Like today, all of us are assembled here. Now we all feel proud to be one group. But then you are maybe a part of your own sub-diasporas. And also, since this function is being held virtually by the IASH in Hanover, which belongs to Germany, I must share with you that compared to other European universities, Germany has always played the foremost role in teaching Indian subjects, whether it is languages, cultures, religions, and philosophies at the universities. There are a lot of faculty and student exchange, and many universities employ Indian scholars in Berlin, Munich, Münster, Hamburg, Heidelberg, Cologne, and many other universities. I am one of the beneficiaries of visiting the University of Cologne in the year 2000. I still cannot forget the gesture given by Professor Thomas Malton, a German working on Tamil for many decades. And incidentally, I visited their Department of Indology Studies on my birthday. It was on May 22nd. They gifted me those days, of course, 20 years back, I got some CDs and cassettes, because some of you who are born in that age group, you know the cassettes and other devices. So they gave me Tamil corpus of Sangam Tamil, classical Tamil, which they are working on at the University of Cologne. There are many other departments in the same university for Hindi, Sanskrit, and also I also was invited by University of Antwerp in the year 2000 to work on classical Tamil, modern Tamil, and modern Telugu. So it is the Indian diaspora who invited me to Europe. So that is why when Soumya asked, despite all other engagements, I thought I must give back something to the Indian diaspora when they approach me, because there are many places continue their work like that. Now another question to many of you who are from Europe here. How many of you speak your mother tongues fluently? Is there intergenerational transmission of your mother tongues in your family or community? How much do you use your language in your day-to-day life? Please ask yourself these questions. If your answers are less than 50%, I'm not happy to hear it being a linguist. My humble appeal to this group, especially the young parents, I see many of them sitting with kids, please use your language at home, because it's important to transmit our languages to our kids. And like somebody already said, the more the merrier. When you know more languages, you earn more friends. So let the kids learn the languages of not just their own mother tongues, but also the mother tongues of their friends. Why are we again and again talking about this? Because when a language dies, a culture dies. You become acculturated. You do not want to be one of those. Therefore, it is necessary to protect, preserve, and promote our mother tongues before they become extinct or before they become less popular in your own family circles. Because it's important to reverse language shift, attitude shift, and ideology shift. Why should we do this? This will help us to maintain linguistic and cultural diversity of the languages of the world, whether it is spoken in India or abroad, and thereby promote multilingualism. With these few words, I once again thank the Indian Association of Hanover for having me on this great occasion, and I thank all of you for patiently listening to me. Once again, happy International Mother Language Day.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Umarani, for sharing with us the exhaustive, diligent, and inspiring work that you do, and for this thought provoking speech. Knowledge of different languages does enable us to broaden our horizons, respect each other, and bring out fresh ideas. Language brings us closer. Thank you again. We now move to the next performer.
Uh,
Yes?
Hello.
Yeah. We now move to the next performer. Urdu has been called one of the most beautiful sounding and sophisticated languages. That is why Urdu speakers are such a delight to listen to, and many Urdu literary and poetic works are very famous in the Indian subcontinent. Perhaps you have already heard it in movies or songs. Developed in and around Delhi during the Delhi Sultanate, it became the preferred language of the Mughals during the Mughal Empire. Our next performance is by Mr. Munazar Ahmed, ex-Vice President of IASH, who will be presenting Urdu Shairi.
Hello, thank you, Kritika, for introduction. And hello and namaste, adab, vanakkam, namaskaram to all the people here. I come from now Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. And before that, it was a state which also included Leh Ladakh. So my state is a very unique in if you see the diversity in not only people but languages, culture, and their living styles, lifestyle. So mostly in my state, I think this is one of the state where different languages are spoken when it was a state. So basically, the languages were spoken were three. So that is Dogri, Kashmiri, and Ladakhi. So these were the three regions, and these were the three languages spoken in these three different regions. My father comes from Kashmir, where he speaks Kashmiri, but my mother comes from Jammu region. And that's why I was exposed to both the languages, and at home, and my mother speaks Urdu with their relatives, and that's why my mother tongue, I can say that I speak many languages. So Urdu is one of my mother tongue or mother language. So I write some poetry in Urdu language, and I would like to share one of such poetry which is in Urdu. I will try to explain you a few words which might be difficult to understand, so that you understand what I'm trying to say in this. The title of my poetry is, I have kept it Khidki. Khidki in Hindi you can understand as a window, but you can also in Urdu it's called Roshandan, we can say. So it goes, and if somebody doesn't understand any word or anything, they can ask me at any time. So it starts like, किसी को चांदनी तो किसी को सहर लाई. Seher is like early morning or morning. मुझे मेरे अपने गुजरने की खबर लाई. खुशी का भार उठाना मुनासिब न था. मुनासिब means appropriate. गम के आंसू लेकिन बेशुमार लाई. बेशुमार means limitless. किसी को धूप का तो किसी को बारिश का हिस्सा लाई. मुझे मेरे गमों का कोई किस्सा लाई. एक ठंडा झोंका सा कभी हवा का लाई. मुझे मेरे होने की अफवाह भी लाई. अफवाह इज रूमर. खुशी का भार उठाना मुनासिब न था. गम के आंसू लेकिन बेशुमार लाई. नींद सुकून चैन आराम भी कुछ बहारें लाई, दर्द जख्म बेचैनी घबराहट की कुछ इशारे भी लाई। चलता रहा एहसासों का कारोबार यहाँ, कुछ मुनाफे मुफलिसी के नाम हमारे भी लाई। Muflisi is when somebody is poor, or we can say, yeah, poor. खुशी का भार उठाना मुनासिब न था, गम के आंसू लेकिन बेशुमार लाई। फिर एक दिन चोरी से तेरा जिक्र लाई, कुंडी लगा के मैं तन्हा बैठ गया भीतर, फिर भी एक छोटे सुराख से तेरी फिक्र लाई। भूल बैठा सारा जहां यहाँ मैं अपना, वो एक लम्हे की पूरी नई जिंदगी लाई। खुशी का भार उठाना मुनासिब न था, गम के आंसू लेकिन बेशुमार लाई। टूट चुका है मेरा सब्र कब का, खुल चुका है दरवाजा अब कब्र का। फिर एक दिन सुबह हुई और मेरे होने ना होने की एक तफ्तीश पिलाई। तफ्तीश इज इंटरोगेशन। खुशी का भार उठाना मुनासिब न था, गम के आंसू लेकिन बेशुमार लाई। So this was one of the poetry I wrote. It was in Urdu. I hope you liked it, and I would also like to read, if time permits. I'm not sure whether time permits. Kritika will tell me whether time permits or not.
Munna, we are running very crisp on time, so.
Okay, not a problem. Then you can go ahead with your program. I will.
Thanks.
Not. Yeah, I hope everybody like, and thank you for Indian Association Hanover to give this platform to express my emotions through my mother tongue. And happy International Mother Tongue Day to everyone here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was very delightful. We're sorry we're running short on time, so we go ahead with the next performance. The next would be our third and last set of children's performances. We have Abhinay, Bhava, and Saeed showcasing Tamil and English languages.
எல்லாருக்கும் வணக்கம். என் பேரு அபிநய். இன்னைக்கு நான் மகாகவி பாரதியார் எழுதிய ஒரு கவிதை சொல்ல போறேன். அச்சமில்லை அச்சமில்லை அச்சமென்பதில்லை, இச்சகத்தலோலெல்லாம் எதிர்த்து நின்ற போதிலும் அச்சமில்லை அச்சமில்லை. போதிலும் அச்சமில்லை அச்சமில்லை அச்சமென்பதில்லை, துச்சமாகி எண்ணி நம்மை தூறு செய்த போதிலும் அச்சமில்லை அச்சமில்லை அச்சமென்பதில்லை, பிச்சை வாங்கி ஒன்னும் வாழ்க்கை பெற்றுவிட்ட போதிலும் அச்சமில்லை அச்சமில்லை அச்சமென்பதில்லை, இச்சை கண்ட பொருளெல்லாம் இழந்து விட்ட போதிலும் அச்சமில்லை அச்சமில்லை அச்சமென்பதில்லை, நச்சை வயல கொணர்ந்து நண்பரூட்டும் போதிலும் அச்சமில்லை அச்சமில்லை அச்சமென்பதில்லை, பச்சையுண்ணியாய் இந்த வியற்படைகள் வந்த போதிலும் அச்சமில்லை அச்சமில்லை அச்சமென்பதில்லை, உச்சி மீதவான் இருந்து விரிகின்ற போதிலும் அச்சமில்லை அச்சமில்லை அச்சமென்பதில்லையே.
வணக்கம், என் பேர் பகவானதி. என் தாய்மொழி தமிழ். பரதநாட்டியம் தமிழருடைய மிக பிரசித்தமான நடன கலை. தமிழுக்கு புகழ் சேர்த்த பல புலவர்களில் பாரதியாரும் ஒருவர்.
Hello everyone, my name is Sayzadov and today I'm going to be playing Believer with my guitar. First things first, I'ma say all the words inside my head. I'm fired up and tired of the way that things have been. Ooh, the way that things have been. Ooh. Second thing, second, don't you tell me what you think that I can be. I'm the word of my sail, I'm the master of my sea. Ooh, the master of my sea. Ooh. I was broken from a young age, taking my soul, came to the masses, writing down poems for a few that took me, shook me, feeling me, sing from heartache, from the pain, taking my message from the veins, speak the lesson from the brain, seeing the beauty through the pain. You made me a believer, believer. Pain, you break me down, you build me up, believer, believer. Pain, I let the bullets fly, I let them rain. My life, my love, my drive, it came from pain. You made me a believer, believer. Thank you, bye bye.
Awesome. What wonderful effort by the kids. Now next, we are very happy to have with us today Mr. Roland Balzer, an enthusiast of German history. He will be presenting about Johann Christoph Friedrich von Schiller, who was a German poet, philosopher, physician, historian, and playwright. Sir, we invite you to kindly share with us a few thoughts on one of the widely spoken European languages, Deutsch.
The speak by Roland is a pre-recorded one, but Roland also wants like if anybody has any question after his speech to kindly ask to him. He's online, so he would also like to hear from all of you after we end the video. Thank you.
Philosophen festgestellt, was die Welt im Innersten zusammenhält, erhält sich das Getriebe durch Hunger und durch Liebe. Friedrich Schiller is a guy you can meet in Georgstraße. When you are near to that old Karstadt building, you will see the monument. And you see a lot of people passing and never recognizing. But Schiller is one of the most important historical and literature persons of the beginning of the 19th century. I called my small lecture Friedrich Schiller and the Spirit of Freedom. He was born on 10th of November in 1759 at Marburg, Baden-Württemberg. Even the most highly respected poets of a country, and these are Schiller and Goethe for Germany, do not start their way recognized as the way what they are. Schiller wanted to become a Lutheran pastor. Baden-Württemberg was ruled by some duke who established a college which was organized as a military institution. The whole day, pupils had to follow the orders of teachers and officers. Schiller was forced to study there to become a military doctor. He had to keep secret what he wrote and even what he read, because private studies were not allowed. The manuscript of his first drama, Die Räuber, the robbers, merely seen in the sense of Robin Hood, had to be smuggled to Mannheim, which was part of a neighbor state. At the first public presentation, the audience was deeply touched and much identifying with that play. This was a huge success for Schiller. At first, Schiller is a poet of freedom, and that was missing a lot. Then he is an author of Reconnaissance, who also wrote on history. His plays are basic to German literature. But he had to flee from his home state. At the lecture from which I will present you some sentences, his theater director had told him before to go back to work as a military medicine. It was in the year of 1785, 5 years before French Revolution. Schiller was 25 years old. The title of his lecture was What a Good Permanently Theater Can Do, or The Theater as a Moral Institution. Schiller understood by this the much broader intention of that play. To acquaint man with man and to reveal the secret mechanism by which he acts. As certainly as visible representation has a more powerful effect than the dead letters and laws, so certainly does the theater have a deeper and more lasting effect than morals and laws. If natural pride, that is what I call the permissible estimate of our intrinsic value, is not to leave us in any aspect of civil life, then it is probably necessary that we first answer the question for ourselves, if the business to which we are now devoting, taking the best part of our mental strength, is compatible with the dignity of our spirit. It is not always merely the highest exertion of the powers, only their noblest application can grant greatness. The loftier the goal to which we aspire, the higher our courage rises, the poorer our self-confidence becomes, the purer our self-confidence becomes, the most independent of, the more we are independent of the world's opinion. Only then, when we have first decided for ourselves what we are and what we are not, only then we escape the danger of suffering from foreign judgment, of becoming puffed up by the admiration or covertly by contempt. Man condemns the young man who, threatened by inner stench, emerges from the narrow dungeon of bread science and follows the call of God who is in him. Is this the revenge of the little minds on the genius to which they fail to aspire? It is crime against themselves, murder of talents, when the same measure of ability which would be devoted to the highest interest of humanity is ungratefully wasted on a less important object. 8 years after this lecture, the Declaration of Human Rights happened in Paris. Human rights are bound to humans, not to countries, kings, or religions. Human rights are universal, inalienable, egalitarian, and indivisible. They are self-evident. They are a priori there and cannot be taken away by any damage wherever it happens. The inner dignity, freedom, and inspiration of man, the individuality, becomes the basic of civilization. So for Schiller, it is his right and his duty to follow his own conscience, his own mission. He is not owned by his duke. In the year 1792, the French Republic gave him honorary citizenship. They will have known about this book, about his book on the Republic of Netherlands, who left Spanish monarchy. At this time, he was professor of historics in Jena. The friendship with Goethe started in 1794. This congenial people, often opposite in opinion, created the heart of what we know as Weimar classic period. In contact with Kant and all major philosophers and poets of that time, the classic period of art, science, and philosophy, and also music, was born in political stormy times. In this year, Schiller was the editor of the journal Die Horen and wrote the most famous plays, mainly in transposing historical events in great language. His plays are a constant part of theaters up to now. Goethe and Schiller inspired each other and were writing short messages called Szenien to each other. At this time, the post guy was to come 4 times a day, so they didn't need smartphone. Goethe once said he found a more educated, more understanding, and more developed, higher inspired Schiller each week. Schiller, who had 4 children with his wife, Charlotte von Lengefeld, was plagued by illness, which often caused cramps and sometimes interrupted his works. He did some cure in Karlsbad, but the illness came back. He was one of the first who saw himself as a citizen of the world. His first lecture in Jena had the title, "Why do we study history in a universal way?" With Goethe, he also discussed a lot about nature. Schiller died in May 1805, much too soon. What he left in his works is encouragement and the belief on the human and the humanity. Connected with the classic period is also some idea of universal educated, of a universal gebildeter man. I use this German term in distinction to educated, for the meaning is also that your personality is undergoing some change. From that time, this ideal is present in many German houses of citizens, in some cases up to now. I want to thank my friend Hartmut for giving me a biography of Schiller. Within his mother marked some parts which helped me a lot. And I hope that you will have some possibility to see plays of Schiller in theater.
Thank you so much, Mr. Palsa. Our next performer is Mr. Tai. He is an ML researcher at Forschungszentrum. He will be introducing us to Vietnamese music and with particular emphasis on the instrument Dan Tran. This virtual stage is all yours, Tai. Thank you so much, Mr. Tai. That was very soulful and captivating. Music is indeed a great way of communicating and showcasing a country, a culture. Thank you for joining us today. We now move to an exciting part of the afternoon, the quiz. Our quiz master, Harleen, will take us through the rules and the questions. We look forward to an enthusiastic participation from the audience. Harleen, here you go.
Before starting, am I audible? Hello?
Yes.
Are you guys able to hear me?
Yeah.
Sure. So yeah, until it starts, very good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for the performances. Also, I would like to say to Mr. John and Miss Uma, you have created a spoiler alert here, and I hope the people who were listening actually paid attention because the questions are quite related. Next slide, please. So in the competition Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, you have 4 choices and only one correct answer. So this is not the Fear Shine exam. All the best. You may write me with 1A, 2B, 3C in case you want me to write. And please mention the question number. You have 10 seconds to answer a question. The timer is with me. I'll be saying you, and I'll be calling out the names of the people who answered correctly. And yeah, then let's get started. Yeah. First question. Yeah. So what is the annual theme of this year's International Mother Language Day? A, safeguarding linguistic diversity. B, fostering multilingualism for inclusion in education and society. Third, towards sustainable futures through multilingual education. Inclusion in and through education, language counts. Yeah. Time's up. So yeah, the answer was B. I got it from Priya Zadav, Miss Uma Papuswamy, and yeah, the other guys had luck. I'm sorry. Next question. The idea to celebrate International Mother Language Day was the initiative of Bangladesh. A, true, B, false. Time's up. I'm sorry, I have quite a few wrong answers, even though Mr. John and Miss Uma have said this ample number of times. So the correct answers are given by Kritika Bhardwaj, Samirji, Chetan, and yeah, that would be all. It is true, and that was because we have heard that it is because 4 people from Bangladesh were killed and they wanted Bengali to be the mother language when they were part of Pakistan. Next slide, please. And yeah, I think we are good to go. Next slide, please. Question third, how often does a language disappears in today's society? A, every 6 months, B, every 3 months, C, every month, D, every 2 weeks. Time starts now. Time's up. Can we have the correct answer, please? Oh, the answer is D. Ms. Priya Jadhav, Chetan, Ms. Uma Swami, Samirji, and Ms. Kritika. We move forward. According to the data on languages and mother tongue census of India 2011, how many languages are classified as non-scheduled languages? A, 93, B, 95, C, 97, D, 99. Starts. Yeah, time's up. The answer is 99. Yeah, so non-scheduled languages are the languages which don't have the official status by the government, and the government is not supposed to take care of it. And we, apart from that, we have 22 other languages, and the correct answers were given by many people. I would start with Priyaji, Chetan, Ms. Uma again, Ms. Adhya. Yeah, next question, please. So Hindi is a classical language of India. Is it true or false? Time's up. I'm sorry, the answer is false. Interestingly, it is false. Can we know why? Yeah, and what the languages are classical languages. So yeah, I think only Ms. Uma was able to answer this correctly. So yeah, the languages are classified as classical based on some factors, which I don't want to say here now. I definitely want you guys to research more on this topic. The latest language which was added was Odia in 14, and Hindi is not. Surprisingly, it is not. So next question, please. German is a national language in Namibia, a country in Africa. So is it true or false? Time's up. It is true. Well, can we know? Did you know? Yeah, please read it, and by that time I'll answer the names of the people. And yeah, many answers, but I would request you guys again to put the question number first, because there are many options I see in the chat window. A, B, A, B, A, B. Unfortunately, I am unable to understand which are you guys answering, but it was true. Germany was ruled by Namibia was ruled by Germany, and until 1991 it was one of the official languages as well. Now after 91, when it got independence, it went from official to national languages by law, but it is being spoken by less than 22% of the white population in Namibia. Next question, please. Standard German or Deutsch, Plattdeutsch, Standard Deutsch is a dash language. A, North Germanic, B, West Germanic, C, East Germanic. Time's up. So the answer is West Germanic. I think I've got, oh, no correct answers if I see it right. No, it was B option, West Germanic. Yeah, it is the West Germanic language. It is a family of Germanic languages, and English is also one of the West Germanic languages. And German is the second most spoken languages, approximately 100 million people, as you can see. Next question, please. India has the highest number of languages in the world. A, true, B, false. Time starts. Time's up. Oh, unfortunately, it's only 2 or 3 people who knew the correct answer. Miss Kritika, Miss Adhya, Miss Uma again. And the answer is false. Unfortunately, we are not the first. We are not the second. We are not the third as well. Yeah, we were all scorned by this fact, I think. Yeah, Wikipedia, nowadays. Okay, so I just wanted to let you know, Papua New Guinea, the country with the maximum number of languages, 840, just included recently that's their sign language as one of the official languages. So quite interesting. Many countries have done that. Next question, please. Which United Nations entity proclaimed 21st February as the International Mother Language Day? A. World Intellectual Property Organization. B. United Nations Economic and Social Council. C. United Nations World Tourism Organization. D. United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. Time's up. The answer is D, UNESCO actually. So Ms. Priya, Ms. Kritika, Chetan, Ms. Papuswamy, Samirji, and Ms. Deepa, you answered correctly. Yeah, so it was in 1999 and 2000 was the first year it was celebrated, but it was UNESCO. Yeah. Next question, please. Which is the second highest spoken language in the world based on the native speakers? A. Mandarin Chinese, B. English, C. Spanish, D. Hindi. Time starts. Time's up. May we have the correct answer? It is C. Yeah, Miss Kritika, Miss Priya, Samir ji didn't answer it correctly. I'm sorry. Adhya, Chetan answered correctly. I'm sorry. I think this question is sort of a gray zone. Many people don't have a census correctly to the 21st century, so we are taking this from Wikipedia again. I'm sorry. The next question again would be Hakuna Matata, a famous phrase made popular around the world by the movie Lion King. But which language was it? A. Igbo, B. Swahili, C. Afrikaans, D. Yoruba. Time's up. It is Swahili actually. And I've got correct answers from Ms. Priya, Samirji, Ms. Kritika, Ms. Tina Patel, and that was all. I think Tina Patel, ma'am, was helped by her son, who also saw the movie. Hakuna Matata from East Africa means no trouble, no worries. And one of the languages in the option was Afrikaans. And I just want to let you know, Afrikaans is also a West Germanic language. So something that you learned today. Next question, please. Yeah, that was a test. I think thank you are in orders, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Harleen. The children of IASH have shown remarkable energy and earnestness towards all IASH activities and events in the year 2020. IASH would like to felicitate all the performers for their sheer charm, as well as their parents for their effort and support. Arjun. We now would like to thank and felicitate the backbone of IASH, its volunteers. They are whose ideas, enterprise, hard work, and zeal make these events happen. The year of 2020 was a difficult year to host events, you all would agree, But nevertheless, IASH had around 40 events, and this is due to the commitment of the volunteers. The video, please. A big thank you from IASH to all of you. Music is one of the languages of communication. It rises above cultural and linguistic differences and is one of the most creative forms of expression. To enthrall us this afternoon, we have with us Ms. Isha Datta, who will be presenting a beautiful sitar rendition of Ekla Cholo Re. It is a Bengali patriotic song written by Sir Rabindranath Tagore. The video, please. Thank you so much, Isha. That was really pleasant and beautiful performance. Thank you for being a great audience for today's program. I would like to leave you with the words of a former UNESCO Director General, Irina Bokova. Multilingualism is a source of strength and opportunity. It embodies our cultural diversity and encourages us to exchange views, the renewal of ideas, and the broadening of our capacity to imagine. Let us always, always be inspired. I would now like to request Ms. Soumya, the treasurer of IASH, to convey the vote of thanks.
Hello, everyone. Before I go ahead with the vote of thanks, I would like to thank especially the kids and the parents who have made 2020 a wonderful event for IASH and also the volunteers. And if any one of you would like to say something, please feel free now to say some words. Or if you can also please switch on your video for a second and say hello, all the kids. It would be really good to see all of you. I see Sai, Adya, Harini, Veera. Hello. Any of the kids want to say something? Okay, let's go to the volunteers of 2020. Would anyone want to say something? Please switch on your video so that we can see you.
Thank you to Irish Board for organizing this event and letting us show our talents.
Thank you. So going ahead with the vote of thanks, on behalf of IASH, I thank the Honorable Consul General, Mr. John H. Rulangan, Mr. Stephen from VHS, Ms. Lipi Ahmed from IIK, Mr. Abiomi from ADFAO North, a wonderful guest speaker from India, Ms. Umarani, Mr. Roland, Professor Smechak, all the performers from India and Germany, our quiz master Helene, and the IASH kid performers, the volunteers, extended board, and my colleague, Mr. Arjun. And lastly, all the participants who are here today. Hope you all had a wonderful time. And if you want to be an IASH member or give us feedback regarding today's event or any feedback in general, please do so. Thank you once again and have a wonderful afternoon.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to end this event with the song that was dedicated to this day. So I would like to play the song, if you can please. Thank you everyone for joining us together. Kritika, please, can you end the show?
We also have a feedback form, any kind of feedback for today's performances, and the event is appreciated. And have a great evening ahead. Thank you.